Hi, if you're new to my channel, I'm Darlene Williams of the Higher Level Method. I'm a single parent of a successful married adult. Many times I'm asked, how did I do it? Let me tell you, it was not easy. I'm not a punk, and I don't want you to be one either. Welcome to my episode of Parenting is Not for Punks. Today I want to talk to single parents about their older children who are at the age where they like the opposite sex. But before I do, please remember to visit my website at www.thehigherlevelmethod.com. Follow me on Instagram at The Higher Level Method and email me at thehigherlevelmethodpr@gmail.com. Remember, higher level thinking plus higher level performance equals higher level results, period. So, parents, for those of you who are, your children rather, are at the stage where they like the opposite sex. Your daughters like boys, your sons like girls. Um, and you may feel like they're too young. You may feel like the girl is too sassy or the guy is too whatever. We when our children are too young, we just have reservations about them dating. And when they get to a certain age to date, we still may have some reservations because we know they're young and they're not really thinking, they're silly, and they're just acting on a whim and their hormones are raging, especially in the day of social media where all these women and girls have their breast and butt and everything else out. They have no decorum about it. It makes it easier for them to want to explore certain avenues, if you will. Um, I'm not here to tell you to let them have their way, do whatever they want. But one of the things that I want you to do is really embrace how they're feeling and talk to them about what they're feeling, what their bodies are going through, what they're thinking, what their friends are saying, and do it. There's another episode where I talk to you about breaking bread with your children, right? Sitting down, having a meal. This is the time when you now ease into that conversation and you do it without being forceful so that this way they will feel comfortable about talking to you about these sensitive kinds of issues. They're going to say, well, mom, dad, when this girl said this to me or this guy said that to me, this is how I felt, or I didn't know how to feel, or what do you think about what this person has said to me, and how do you think I should handle it? You'll be surprised that while you're sitting down eating, the things that your children will reveal to you. So don't be scared to sit down and talk to them. And what will happen is it will open up the channels of communication so that it will position you to be in a way where you can feel comfortable talking to them and being honest with them about why they should pump their brakes with dating and why you don't approve of dating at this juncture in time. Now, one of the things that can happen is you can approve of them to go with a group of friends to the movies or out to dinner or to a game room or something like that. But it has to be a group of young people that, is in your tribe that you trust. You know their parents, you know something about them. So that this way, if something should go awry, there are people around. You also can opt to take your child with his or her friends to the movies, to dinner, to the game room, things like that, so that they are doing fun things. They're interacting so that it's not a one-on-one type of date. Invite their interests to come over and have dinner with the family or to go out if you're going away, not away, but if you're going, if you're going away, that's a possibility too. But if you're going, let's say, to a family member's house that's out of town, bring them for that day so that this way the other family members can get to meet them and they can add their input too. And also what will happen is you will put them in an environment where they will get to see how your son is treated, how your daughter is treated, how your daughter responds to when you call them, right? When you call your son or your daughter, do they say, huh, what, yeah, or do they say yes, or yes ma'am, or yes, yes sir? right? So they will get to see the quality of care that you give to your child, and that will help them make a decision as to whether they want to be with your son or daughter or not, because they may say, oh, you come from such a strict family, I can't be bothered with this, and now leave your child alone. That's the weeding out process. That's one of the best ways, right? Because now you don't have to do anything. The work that you need to do is lessen. You may have to talk to your child about how they feel about it, but in terms of trying to put a wedge in between a possible, you know, premature or an immature relationship, you won't have to do that, because just by them seeing how your son or daughter is treated will be a weeding could be a weeding out process. So that's something to think about. The next thing is, get to meet the parents of this person, so that you can say to your son or daughter, listen, while we were interacting with their parents or their parent, whatever it is, did you notice such and such and such and such? And it could be, contrary to how you raise your child, and you get them to see a certain thing. Or it could be in sync with how you raise your child. So that now what can happen is you and that parent or parents can now formulate a bond so that you can monitor what's going on, because you are like-minded. But here's what you should not do. You should definitely not talk bad about that person. One, because that's someone else's child. That child is a child of God. You should refrain from doing that, because then you set a tone with your child that it's okay to degrade people and demoralize them, and that's never okay. And you are just as bad as they are. So it defeats the purpose of not wanting them together, because you're setting a negative tone out the gate. The other reason why you shouldn't talk bad about them is because it's just going to pull them closer and closer together. And if you believe that your child is too immature to be in a relationship, they're too young, whatever the case is, because you're the parent, you know best, it's going to be a contrary effect. So my recommendation is that you really get in the trenches and do everything that you need to do to make it clear to your son and your daughter that they are not to, they're not old enough to date. They're not mature enough to date, that dating is not allowed in your house. Clear talk lends for clear understanding. So be clear about how you feel. But also be clever about how you convey your feelings, because it's important that your children know that as a part of the team, right? There are certain requirements that need to be fulfilled, like a basketball team, a football team, a soccer team, right? There are certain rules, there are certain boundaries, and when you overstep those boundaries, then you're flagged, you are fouled, or whatever it is. But you're called to know that what you did was out of bounds and it was inappropriate. So yes, do that, because you're the parent and you're not a punk. That's what you're supposed to do. But be clever about how you interact with your children. Be clever and be loving, because that is really what they need, is love. They need to know that you are there, that you love them, and that you're not going to degrade them and put them down and make them feel silly or make them feel stupid. That's what the world does. They don't need to have that inside of the house and outside of the house. So I implore you to just take some time, get to know your daughter, get to know your son, find out how they're feeling, find out why they feel the way they feel about their puppy love interest, and ask them questions. Talk to them. Do it over dinner. I'm telling you, it will be smoother than you ever imagined. And again, I'm a proponent. I know the world that we live in today, that you can't, everyone can't have breakfast, lunch, and dinner with their family, but carve out some time to have at least one meal a day with your family. And you will get to know so much about the people that you live with and the people that you love, especially your children. They will begin to tell you so many things about them, about how they're feeling, about their friends, what their friends are doing. I can remember on Saturday sitting down My brother and I, my mom had to work on weekends, and my father was home. So he got up, he cooked us a big breakfast, and we sat around the table and we ate and we just talked about some of everything. And two of my childhood friends got pregnant when we were in high school. And, I talked to my dad about it and he gave me his thoughts about it. And, um, you know, it was very comforting. He wasn't judgmental of them. He didn't, make me feel like I couldn't hang out with them anymore. But he gave me some really sound advice about why it's important that I should not become a teenage parent and why I should not be indulging in certain things. And it stuck with me. Do that for your children. They are looking and longing for you to tell them the truth and to give them facts and to receive love from you. And let me tell you something. When you discipline your children and when you give them boundaries and you set goals for them and you make rules, you are showing that you love them. And when you show that you love them by doing that, that is when they know that they can trust you. But if you try to be their friend and you don't set boundaries, then they will feel like they can't trust you and they're going to retaliate and they're going to look for the love and the trust and the boundaries outside of your home. And many times it's going to be with people who don't care anything about them, who want to use them and abuse them. Don't be a punk. Talk to your children. Eat with them at least once a day. Listen to them. Listen to them. Listen to them. Listen to them. They'll tell you what you want to hear. You have to listen. And again, my big thing is consistency is key. Do not have breakfast with them or lunch with them or dinner with them for a month and feel like, okay, that's enough. No, consistency is key. You've got to be consistent. And the way you schedule things for work, you've got to schedule time with your children. You have got to let them know that they are important. You brought them here. They didn't ask to be here. So it's incumbent upon you as their parent to do whatever you need to do to make sure that you secure them. You secure them in your heart and in your spirit, and you show that to them. Because if you don't, they will seek it elsewhere, and it won't be good. Tell me what you think in the comments. Drop down in the comments what you think, how you feel. Also, provide some tips about what you think about dating. What age do you think your son or daughter should start dating? Do you think some people think it's 13, some people think it's 16, some people think it's 18, some people think 18 is too late to start dating? What are your thoughts? Share in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. If you don't feel comfortable sharing them in the comments, email me at thehigherlevelmethodpr@gmail.com. Whether you agree with what I've said or not, I welcome all comments and all thoughts. Again, don't forget to visit me at www.thehigherlevelmethod.com. Also, look on my website. I have a boot camp coming up for parents. It's going to be dynamite. Dynamite, dynamite. Look for it, register for it. There's an early bird special. Hurry up to get your early bird special. The space is limited. After that, it will go up to full price. And depending on the turnout, we won't have another one until next year. So just, again, check us out, www.thehigherlevelmethod.com. I look forward to seeing you in the next iteration of Parenting is Not for Punks. Don't be a punk. Higher level thinking plus higher level performance equals higher level results. Period. I'm out.